Let's roll, baby. Welcome in. It is a Monday edition of the Ringer Gambling Show. 2/3 of the East Coast Bias Boys are here. Raheem Palmer coming off the bench. You'll see him momentarily. John Jastremski, Anthony Dabbundo in our New York studios. Joe House in Washington, D.C. The playoff field is set. The wild card weekend matchups are set. We'll have the bets we can't wait to make. We're fired up for those. We'll go through a couple of the firings as far as Black Monday in the NFL is concerned. But fellas, Happy New Year. As we start Ringer Gambling in 2026, Joe House, boy, did the Ravens and the Steelers deliver an instant classic. The line moved up to 4.5, right around 4 come kickoff. You had a game that was a slog for the first half. Then you had absolute insanity in the second half where you have Lamar Jackson getting Zay Flowers deep down the field. Then it's Aaron Rodgers hitting fellas down the field. Looks like Aaron Rodgers is going to have the go-ahead signature touchdown inside of a minute. Jackson on 4th down, likely incredible catch. And yet Loop shanks it, House, like I would shank my drive on the first tee at Silver Lake Golf Course. And the Ravens are out. The Steelers are in. And the lesson for me is the odds makers who continually backed, supported, drooled all over the Baltimore Ravens once again got cold water splashed right in their face.
Well, it wasn't the bookmakers. It's the public. The public was driving that number. And this is one of the themes for today's show. The public just could not give up its idols. But I want to take a step back and give some appropriate praise to the football gods. We got 2 consecutive Sunday night football games that really show that this league at its absolute. We went from San Francisco, Chicago, the previous Sunday night, and then we had this one with the Ravens and the Steelers in the most classic Ravens and Steelers game ever. God is good. That's all. I just want to make sure that we give acknowledgement to the football gods, to the greater God. Everybody deserves some praise for how exciting that whole thing turned out to be. The only bummer for me is that the dual injury to the Baltimore Ravens secondary, both of their Kyle Hamilton, who is, their Swiss Army knife guy, the most important defensive player, certainly on the Ravens, maybe in the league. I mean, his number 1 PFF grade certainly bears out that how important he is. And he has been healthy most of this season. Him not getting knocked out at the beginning of the second half was a bummer in the sense that we didn't have both of these teams. Now, for sure, Pittsburgh backers were saying, what about Metcalf? What about why we didn't have Big Darnell out there? And that's fair enough. But the way the game was playing out, Hamilton on the field made all of the difference. And every single advanced metric that you look at, Warren Sharp did some side-by-sides. Other folks, smart folks, did lots of side-by-sides. When Hamilton went out, and I asked you guys before we started taping if anybody live bet Pittsburgh at that point. And I knew you JJ, were already heavily invested.
I was too invested, House. Yeah. Couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. Too much of a heart attack for me,
Dabbundo, did you get in on anything?
I had Pittsburgh pregame, and I sat there at halftime right after the defensive pass interference, and then they got duped into going for it from the 1. They ran the terrible play, and I looked at the line, and I said, you know what? I'm good. I'm passing. I'm just going to ride the original 3.5. And honestly, once they did tie the game up, I felt good about it the whole way because, like you said, Baltimore wasn't getting pass rush, and their secondary was slowly falling apart. So by the third, fourth quarter, Pittsburgh was kind of getting what they wanted, especially down the field.
The Ringer Gambling Show is presented by FanDuel. FanDuel's got it all. Same game parlays, quick bets for jumping in live and your way so you could build the best bet that fits your play. Plus, don't miss out on the NFL playoffs all month long. Download the FanDuel app or head to FanDuel.com/gamblers to get started. You have to be 21 or older and present in select states or 18 or older and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut.
Fellas, it's interesting. This AFC, and we're going to get into this when we break down these wild card matchups, it is so wide open. Just think about the point spreads in these wild card weekend games where you have the Texans right around 3 or 3.5. You have the Chargers and the Patriots around 3.5. You have the Bills and the Jaguars at 1.5. So what am I getting at? I'm getting at it's super competitive and it's super wide open. So AD, a team like the Ravens, as they're waking up on Monday morning, and don't get me wrong, I'm thrilled they're out of the playoffs. They've cost me way too much money over the course of this season.
Thrilled.
Oh, I'm so glad to write the obituary on the 2025 Baltimore Ravens. But, like, if I were a fan of that team, I'm looking at the complexion of the AFC where Patrick Mahomes is not playing in the playoffs. You got a year in which Joe Burrow barely played for the Cincinnati Bengals. And if you got in, you could sell yourself on the idea that, hey, you get hot at the right time, you parlay some momentum, you can go and find your way into a Super Bowl, and it's yet another year the Harbaugh, Lamar, Ravens come up small, and nobody loves John Harbaugh more than me. I think he's an unbelievable head coach. The resume speaks for itself. If I were a fan of the Baltimore Ravens, I'm ready for a new head coach. It's time.
I feel like they were the most picked team in the preseason Super Bowl media contingency. Like just going through the predictions, and I was one of them. I picked Baltimore to win the Super Bowl this year. So a lot of us fell for it, and we've all loved the DVOA, right? They're the DVOA kings of the last 5-6 years. I think Aaron Schatz had a post that they're the best DVOA team over a 6-year period to not win a Super Bowl ever. So we all fell in love with the advanced metrics, but really this team never actually fulfilled that. You know, there's been all these Ravens teams that have been really good on paper and had those bozo losses. This one just wasn't ever that good. Pass rush was never that good. Secondary struggled against good teams. And then Lamar Jackson, really since that injury in the Kansas City game, never really found the top gear again. You know, there were moments, right? But for the most part, even their win against Cincinnati, even their win against Green Bay, it wasn't driven, of course, by Lamar Jackson, but other things. So I think people are going to overreact. And I already made a bet with my cousin yesterday because he's convinced Lamar's leaving. And I said, there's no way Lamar's leaving Baltimore. So I'll take my $20 with him. But ultimately, I do think there has to be some kind of change here.
Yeah, Harbaugh to me is the one. I mean, how can you do Lamar? The one thing that really would have made a difference yesterday, to your point, AD, is his running threat. Because they did run him a couple times. They did have a couple design runs. His escapability was like in the, I don't know, it was north of 60%. I don't know if it was all the way up to 75%, but he was able to escape a couple times and get rid of the ball at the right time. But it's still Lamar Jackson. Like, did you see the throws? He had some misses. Like, I don't understand him and DeAndre Hopkins not being on the same page on that third down play.
Kind of wide open. Get the first down.
Well, he was standing at the first down marker.
Get the first.
Yeah, that was a miscommunication, and all he had to do was throw it right to him. But Lamar is like, who are you going to replace Lamar Jackson with? What are you talking about? It's crazy talk. The guy that's replaceable is Harbaugh. But that's really biting down hard on something. The thing that you mentioned, AD, that resonated immediately, they just never had a pass rush. They just never, the injury up front, I can't remember his name. Matabike. Yes, I knew there was a BK. I was going to use an O. That they never really recovered from that. They didn't have an answer for it, and their inability to rush the passer was just hamstrung them all season long. It required that extraordinary play out of Kyle Hamilton, and so when Hamilton got hurt, bang, that was it. But man, good luck to the Ravens going forward. That's a hard one.
Now, as far as the rest of Week 18, House, obviously there were a lot of games that meant diddly squat. We tried to avoid betting on a bunch of those games. Now, there were a few that ended up biting us in the ass, no pun intended. Like, we all took the Cincinnati Bengals. Shame on us. They go and lose outright to the Cleveland Browns. You had the Bears and the Eagles not really putting maximum effort into the idea of getting the number 2 seed in the NFC. The AFC kind of went according to script, where you had Denver go and take care of business against Lance. New England took care of business, so they're the 1, Denver. New England's the 2. Maybe a little sizzle with Indianapolis, who made Houston sweat for that 5 seed.
Over.
And an over. I know you were very happy about that. But on Saturday, that to me was where you had the stakes and the ramifications. Carolina losing. You needed the Saints to go and cooperate for the Buccaneers. Didn't happen. But then McDonald and Seattle and Sam Darnold smiling ear to ear with the idea that they don't got to play wild card weekend and that the road to the Super Bowl goes through Seattle. So if I had to give you the Joe House Week 18 grand take from a betting perspective, what would it be, sir? Open floor.
I am really skeptical of this Bears team. They haven't.
So the odds makers.
You said, JJ, you made a point, JJ, which I thought was interesting. You said that the Bears didn't seem to put their best foot forward. I mean,
they tried.
Like they were trying to win.
At
least the Eagles had an excuse,
they
right?
were.
Like,
The
the Eagles
did not.
benched all their players.
Fair.
What's the Bears' excuse for that?
Well, they played a C game, and they played a team, House, that I knew was going to give a you-know-what about the game. Like, Detroit,
we all knew that.
That's why the line in Detroit was a great bet. It easily could have been a wise wager for me. I'm kind of mad it wasn't for what it's worth. You know, like it was one of those games. Dan Campbell's going to have his guys ready to go.
I mean, we were just scared off by the idea of golf and that cold weather and blah, 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 blah. But ultimately, this, if you look at the Bears down the stretch, they went on the Friday after Thanksgiving and kicked the Eagles' ass and only really had one good performance after that. Now, they did go 2-3 down the stretch, but like and they did beat Green Bay, the depleted Green Bay team.
Fortunate win,
coming back right at the very end there.
Fortunate win, onside kick, yeah.
But like, we're now 5 weeks, in here with one good performance home against Cleveland. I don't know who is this Bears team. Now they did draw absolute gold with this Packers team, except my question to you guys is, did they? This Packers team was up 16-6 in the fourth quarter, and all Romeo Doubs had to do was knock a ball out of bounds. Couldn't do it, but the Packers team is not that much worse.
That's the other thing.
Green Bay controlled both of those games.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Right? They led almost the entire way in the first one. It was close late. Chicago had their chance. The second one, Green Bay controlled most of the game, even without Jordan Love for most of it. And they still were able to keep this Bears offense in check. I think if you were ranking the worst defenses in the playoffs, Niners would be the worst, right?
I think they have to be.
Would the Bears be the second worst?
Buffalo may have a case.
Buffalo will have a case.
The Panthers, I don't really do it for me either.
Yeah.
We'll see them against this Rams offense.
We'll get to that because I think a lot of people are going to try to convince themselves that they should go and take 10 or 10.5 or whatever the crazy number may be. And we'll have you covered across the way for these wild card games. The way too early picks maybe on a Monday for these wild card games. Dabbundo, I'll ask you the same question. If there's a Week 18 takeaway other than the signature Ravens-Steeler game, I'm giving you an open forum.
Yeah, I think the biggest takeaway is probably just not seeing any ceiling at all with the Niners. This was their opportunity, and you saw the kind of actions of John Lynch even in the booth up there that they kept cutting to him during the broadcast, and how kind of just pissed he looked, and how much
Looks
he realized.
like me watching a football game, by the way. Make a blanking tackle. That was John Lynch, by the way. That's me every Sunday yelling at guys I bet on. Just saying.
And if they wanted any chance of making any kind of run here, I think it had to be we get the bye, we get healthy, we get home games. The bit about how they could play 4 straight home games to win the Super Bowl. All of that is now out the window. They're going on the road to Philly. It's going to be not too cold, but a tough environment, in a January game in Philly. So I think San Francisco's ceiling is just not there. I mean, the ease at which Seattle moved the ball. I know they only finished with 13 points, but the ease at which they moved the ball, 71% of the time their passing game was successful. Like, it was just so much simplicity. A couple missed field goals, some red zone problems that existed. But this defense is not a competitive defense in a playoff setting.
Boys, we're just getting started. Monday edition, Ringer Gambling Show with the East Coast Bias Boys. I mean, we're getting John Starks. We're getting J.R. Smith. You're getting one of the premier shooters off the bench. Raheem the Dream Palmer, Wild Card Weekend, Black Monday. Just getting started. Coming right back. Welcome back. It is a Monday Ringer Gambling Show with the East Coast Bias Boys. John Jastremski, Joe House, and there he is.
The victory lap.
Let's be honest, Dream. I gave you J.R. Smith. I gave you John Starks. I think Manu Ginobili works best for you coming off the bench. Amigo, are we cool with that?
I'm cool with that. I would have said, OKC, James Harden, But
no.
I'm a Harden guy. You guys know that.
I
Vinny
think
Johnson.
Raheem gets paid
microwave.
for every James Harden reference he makes on a podcast.
No, I can't go there.
Anytime he can praise Harden, he's got to do it.
Dream, it is a pleasure to see you. Happy New Year. Aftermath now of Week 18, still buzzing from the Steelers winning that game outright. I made the case, if you're the Baltimore Ravens, despite the success he has had, John Harbaugh should not be the head coach next year. You can't have a year like the Ravens just had, losing all of these games, seeing yet another year go through the hourglass of Lamar Jackson's career. He's the quarterback of that team. I think he's going to be back. Harbaugh, to me, is the guy that should be out in Baltimore. It's just time for a change. That was my grand takeaway watching that game. Week 18, Dream. Floor is yours.
Well, yeah, you definitely got to talk about John Harbaugh. I mean, you look at, there's 12 seconds left in that game, and they have an opportunity, and they have a timeout. They have an opportunity to run the ball and pick up some more yardage and then call a timeout before kicking the field goal. They didn't do that. I mean, he treated it like it was automatic, and you got a rookie kicker out there. So that was bad. But you look at the fact that they've lost 4 close games this year. You go back to week 1 against the Bills. They're up 15 with 4 minutes to go. And ironically, the kicker missed the extra point, which, that spearheaded it. The comeback from the Bills. You lose that game. Then you lose the game against the New England Patriots where you're up 10 in the fourth quarter and Derrick Henry doesn't get another touch. And then you lose this one. It's just, they've had so many bad losses this year. And I just think it's time to move on. You got a franchise quarterback in Lamar Jackson. So yes, they need to move on. But one of my biggest takeaways outside of cashing that 18-1 ticket on the Carolina Panthers.
Oh, there you go. I was waiting for the flex. You can take it. You took the
check.
And listen, Raheem deserves this because I was pushing back on it. I said, there's no way in the world this crummy Carolina team is going to win the division. Now, little did I know, Raheem, the Buccaneers would go in the absolute you-know-what. I mean, they went right down the toilet from October on and were just a completely different team than the one that won at Seattle, than the team that won at Houston. I could go on and on and on. You can flex, though, when you have 18 and 19-1 and you give it out in October. My man, enjoy it. It's a victory lap.
Yeah, outside of that, my biggest takeaway is that if the Rams don't get healthy, and that means Arlen Jackson, that means Kevin Dotson on the offensive line, that means Devontae Adams, this team is not the Super Bowl contender that we think they are. Because I didn't like what I saw from them against the Arizona Cardinals. Now, there were, great spots. They still won by 17 points, but this Cardinals team was just bombed out and depleted. And it felt like they should have dominated that game much more than they did. So I'm watching for their injury health going forward because they're going to need to win 3 road games in order to get to the Super Bowl. And, people are calling them the Super Bowl favorite, but they haven't looked great lately.
They haven't. They lost outright at Atlanta. They did not have a great big-time performance house against Arizona. But how much of that game is the Rams knowing deep down that's a game they have in the bag where you're not going to get the quintessential Stafford. You're not going to get the quintessential McVay calls. And it's one of those games you could just get away with winning by giving you a B- or C+ effort. Like, I get the point. Raheem, they're not 100% right.
Yeah.
They have some questions going into this postseason. But as far as like week 18, this game against the Cardinals house, bottom line, they did what they needed to do. They won the game. Okay, moving on.
I guess you could take that approach, but that game was very much in doubt halfway through the third quarter, and Jacoby Brissett exposed quite a bit of the back half of that defense, and that back half of the Rams defense has been a problem, the vulnerability virtually all season. If they're not getting enough pressure on the opposing quarterback now, I'm not sure that Bryce Young will be able to exploit it again. He had all that fourth down luck in the Panthers win over the Rams a handful of weeks ago. But that is a lingering, continuing issue from my perspective. But I want to hear from Dream on these Bears because he told us at the break he has a different
He was
view.
fired up about this house.
Yeah.
He was mad at us. He was mad at us.
So I kind of agree with you because but I don't think they've played back. Like you said, they didn't have a single good game, post their Eagles win. And I thought that they were competitive against the Packers in both of those games. I thought that those were great games. And then I think that the game against the 49ers, I thought they were terrific.
They played well in that Niner game. That's
Yeah,
a fair
I thought
point.
they played,
especially on offense.
Yeah. I think Detroit just has their number. I think the problem with the Bears is that if they don't force turnovers, then their defense doesn't really get stops. But I think ultimately you have a team who can run the ball, and I think you have a quarterback who is dangerous. Now, they've been getting off to slow starts all year long. They've always been a second half team. If they can just get off to a faster start, I think this team is very dangerous. So, and look, the Packers right now, they have a ton of injuries, but I think if they can win this Packers game, it wouldn't surprise me if they won the NFC because I think it's wide open.
So it's funny you mention that because AD, now looking at how everything has shook out, because we kind of knew going into this postseason, hey, like week 18, the AFC North was a division that was not decided. The NFC South was a division that was not decided. But as far as like the actual playoff teams were concerned, you kind of knew, okay, these are the teams in the AFC. These are the teams in the NFC. Based upon what has happened over the last week, as far as like a certain domino moving a certain way, did you see a path for an AFC or an NFC team where it's like, I mean, Seattle's the obvious one because now they have home field advantage throughout. That's a given. But because of matchups and because of the draw, you say, wow, much more favorable, much more difficult now that it is all, dare I say, shaken out.
Yeah, I don't think it broke badly for the Chargers. As crazy as that sounds, and I know that they're decent underdogs here, but by nature of the way that the AFC broke this year, there just isn't that much of a gap between any teams. But I think if we all agree, we like Buffalo the most. We think Jacksonville might be playing the best of anybody in the last month or two in terms of trending upward with the way their offense has looked, their passing game since getting Myers and since getting healthier. And so you're looking at the Chargers and you're like, okay, your path is you're at New England and then you're at Denver. They played Denver very competitively in the first meeting back early in the season. Yes, they're going to have a problem blocking Denver, but you don't take anything from yesterday's game. That didn't really matter. So I don't think the Chargers are going to be afraid of Denver. Like that spread's easily inside 3. So I think the Chargers are the kind of team that could make a run here because they're avoiding that section of the bracket where the Bills and the Jags sit. They will not play either of them until potentially the AFC Championship if they got there. So I actually don't think the bracket broke badly for LA.
Especially if they can go and win that game outright in New England. Now that we know what the playoff feel looks like, and we'll get to these spreads momentarily, we'll run through the board, we'll run through the ones we like, the ones that we're on the fence on. It's going to be a whole lot of dissecting over the next few days. Was there a certain path that opened up to you based upon week 18?
Well, Dream's support of the Bears did put me in a frame of mind here to look at the conference odds, and you can get the Bears at just under 10-1 to win the NFC. Now, if they're able to go ahead and handle their business against the Packers, they host the Eagles, assuming that the Rams take care of business against the Panthers. That's the Rams going to Seattle in round 2 and the Bears hosting the Eagles, which is exactly the just desserts that the Eagles deserve for their very bizarre decision in week 18 to concede that game and forfeit the chance to host the divisional round game. I'm still, maybe they thought that Tanner McKee was going to be better than the Eagles. I really can't make any sense at all out of how the Eagles approached week 18, but that makes the Bears live to make it to the conference championship game. I think that 10-1 price plus 950 on the FanDuel Sportsbook is not a horrendous price, considering, that then you have that ticket and a great opportunity to hedge. And I think that's north of where you would be in terms of playing them on the money line in these games.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's actually a good ticket. We were talking going into the postseason that with Green Bay's injuries, that whoever played Green Bay was in a good position. So under that premise, that makes this a good bet, especially when you consider that the Eagles have to go on the road, and we know that the Eagles don't have a great offense. And we saw this same Bears team run for 280 yards against the Eagles. So if you're doing that to that defense and you're at home, I like this ticket. I think I'm going to play that.
Yet, when we come back, the odds for Wild Card Weekend would indicate the Bears might find themselves in a little bit of trouble. We have the opening lines. We'll dive into the ones we like. We'll tell you the ones that absolutely stink to the high heavens. East Coast Bias Boys, Ringer Monday Gambling. And by the way, there's one bet I've already made. What's it going to be? You'll find out next. The Ringer Gambling Show, the East Coast Bias Boys are here. It's John Jastremski, Joe House, Raheem Palmer, alongside Anthony Dabbundo in our New York studios. Fellas, we have the up-to-the-minute wildcard weekend spreads for Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And I want to make sure they are spot on. They are right in front of me as we speak. Rams laying 10.5 at Carolina. The Packers plus 1.5 in Chicago. Interesting line. Buffalo laying 1.5 against Jacksonville in a very fascinating 3-6 matchup. You got the Niners getting 3.5 in Philadelphia against the Eagles. You have the Chargers getting 3.5 in New England. And then last but not least, we have the Texans getting 3.5 on Monday night against Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, Raheem.
Yes.
I told this already to House. The Dabbundo was here as well.
Okay.
I have made one bet at the moment for Wild Card Weekend. I want you to guess what that bet may be.
It's Buffalo Bills.
That is incorrect. You're in the right conference, though, and I'm going to warn you, I got a better number than the one that is being thrown your way according to our Monday FanDuel odds, because I actually believe it
I know
or
what
not,
it is now.
got the best of the market. Let's hear.
You got the Houston Texans.
I sure do. I sure do. And I know for everybody who is a regular listener of East Coast Bias, Anthony Dabbundo staring me in the face, there was a bold proclamation I made back in October that Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers would win a playoff game. Why am I backing down from that proclamation? Because Aaron Rodgers has to go up against the best defense that the league has to offer. And I know they did not play great against the Colts, and people are going to say their second half against the Chargers was nothing to write home about. That has mismatch nightmare written all over it. Now, does Stroud worry me a little bit? Yes. Did the Texans offensively worry me a little bit? And they steal a voodoo and magic, and they parlay what happened in Week 18. Dabbundo, I don't care. Sometimes you just got to trust your matchup. This matchup screams Texans. That, my friend, is the bet I made.
So I've made two bets.
Okay.
Pittsburgh Steelers plus 3.5.
Hey, Texans win by 3. Let's go.
We could both win this.
There we go.
Look, here's the thing. Houston can't run the ball. It's been a problem all year, and it hasn't really gotten that much better. A little better. Marks has given them some juice, but that's how you beat this Pittsburgh team right now. Like, if you're able to consistently run the ball, we saw the Ravens last night. You go back and you look at what Buffalo did to them earlier this year when they blew them out. If you run the ball, it's very easy to get the edge, get explosive against Pittsburgh. But right now, that's not Houston. And then the other side is the Kamari Lassiter injury. I think it's really important. We don't know if he's going to play yet. He's got multiple injuries he's dealing with. I think he'll play, but he might not be 100%. He matters for their defense too, because you're right. This Texan defense that we have loved, the Texan under, the story of the season, for me, at least in gambling, has been kind of withering a little bit. Like, they're closer to 10th or so in the last month and a half defensively. So I think there's some creaks in the armor there for their defense. We saw that yesterday with Riley Leonard dicing them up for 30 points. It was not a good showing. I know the stakes were not really there, so I'm not going to dock them too much for it, but I think there's something to be said for that. I think Pittsburgh will hang around. They'll probably lose, hopefully by 3 for our sake. And
that'd be great.
We'll see how it goes.
I'm actually with AD on this. I think he makes a great point. He mentioned Kamari Lassiter, but you got to remember, they lost Mario Edwards. They lost Tim Settle. So this defense has not been the same defense that we saw up into Week 14 when they held the Kansas City Chiefs to 10 points. You look at through the first 14 weeks of the season, they were allowing 16 points per game. If you look at their last 4 games against the Cardinals, Raiders, Chargers, and Colts, they're allowing 21 points a game. And that might not seem like a huge difference, but 5 points, I mean, you're close to the league average now. So it's not league average defense, but league average points per game. And I think that kind of changes the calculus on things. And so for me at 3.5, you're basically saying the Houston Texans are pretty much power ranked on the same level of the Baltimore Ravens. And
they are. They're better.
No, but I'm saying that. So the Baltimore Ravens were power rated as if they were a championship team. And this is 3.5.
I think the Texans can be on offense, not on offense. Their offense leaves a lot to be desired. I still think they have championship pedigree in this wide open AFC. I do.
See, I did, but I'm a little concerned what we saw the last month.
I get it, Raheem. They did beat the. Let's be fair on this, though. Yeah. They beat the crap out of Justin Herbert a few weeks ago.
That is true. Yeah.
They did.
Yeah.
They did.
I wonder if this total's a little low. I know it sounds crazy.
And that's where I was going to hit it. I think that the total right now is at 39.5. Everybody's betting the under.
Yeah.
I got to do some digging on this game.
Indoors. It's an indoor game here on a fast turf. Like
it's not indoors. It's outdoors.
Yeah, we're playing Steelers.
I was going to say indoor game.
I'm thinking it's
on that slop.
39.5 is probably right. I actually flipped this and had it backwards. So yeah, no, you're right. Outdoors.
The worst turf in football.
You mentioned another bet though that you made. What was the other bet?
Over Chargers Pats. Weather looks fine. I mean, there's a chance for rain, but it's gonna be in the 40s, which for January in Foxborough is not a problem. It's been bet up, so it's 44.5 up to 46.5. I think anything under 47 is good. I mean, what has New England done against any competent offense this year? Baltimore playing with like half a team got to 24.
Even so, yours in the first half of that game moving up and down on that defense.
Exactly.
And
Buffalo in both games. Buffalo had the fumbling problem in the first game, but the second game they moved the ball. I think both offenses score here. You don't love an over in a playoff game with Vrabel and Harbaugh. Like, it could be a little dicey if you're getting punts from the 40, but to Vrabel's credit, he's also been more aggressive this year. So I like the over in that one. Those are the two I bet so far.
Okay, Joe House, I know I'm throwing a lot at you at the moment because I'm giving you all of these games that you can have a little bit of fun with. A bet that you have made, or just in general, a line that really stands out. Wildcard weekend. Take it away.
Yeah, I just to touch briefly on that Pittsburgh-Houston game. I'm having a very hard time with the ability of Houston to put pressure on Rodgers and not give him any time whatsoever. The Cleveland game is too fresh in my eyes, right?
Yeah.
Pittsburgh scored 6 points against Cleveland because they just had relentless pressure. Now, that was the first game without DK Metcalf, and Darnell Washington got hurt in that game. DK is back. So what does that mean? I'm just having a hard time trying to decide which way I want to lean into it. But I do think Houston is going to get pressure against Rodgers. And then what does that mean for Pittsburgh in terms of ability to score? So that one I'm going to keep doing some work on. I hate to say this out loud because I know that it's going to hit me right back in the face. I have bet the Los Angeles Chargers on the money line and grab the 3.5.
Did you tell Simmons? Is this the first time this is being unveiled?
He's going to hear it because I'm going to keep touting it. I look at two things here. One is the toughness of this Chargers team. Every time that we want to doubt the Chargers, and they have played everybody. They have gone up against all of the best in the NFL, and somehow without their two, tackles and without, with a rotating cast of guards, they just keep hanging in these games. And the reason is because their defense is super underrated and not getting enough credit. And I look at this New England stretch of their last 7 or 8 games. I can't find a defense that rivals the Chargers defense in terms of their ability to bring pressure and their ability to take away the deep ball. Look at the numbers for this Chargers defense against explosives. It's the thing that they do better than anybody in the entire NFL. Well, the Patriots have lived on explosives all season long. We just watched it. Hell, JJ, your Dolphins were in that game for a little bit yesterday until we got turnover, and then the explosives came and it was an avalanche of points out of New England. I was fine with that because I laid the 11.5 with New England. No problem there. But I just really, these numbers are crazy to me. Anything over 3, a money line play of north of 150, I just have to jump on the numbers, and that's where I'm at here on this Monday.
Totally understand it. Raheem,
I got a bunch of totals. I'm gonna go.
Ooh, total man. Okay.
I'm gonna go Packers Bears over 45.5. Like, I think that stands out to me. I think Anthony spoke about the Bears defense.
Yeah.
So I think that's a concern here. And then the Packers kind of generate a lot of explosives. I'm also going to go over on the Panthers and the Rams game. I mean, obviously these two, I think the one thing that the Rams have is you're not going to slow them down. And with a spread of 10, I think they can get over this one. And the other one that kind of stands out to me is under 46.5, San Francisco, Philadelphia. So I'm looking at those 3 right now.
Yeah, the Eagles' home playoff unders
they're great.
always feel great.
Yeah.
That defense at home in a big spot. And then just the problems that San Francisco has. aren't necessarily that exploited by Philly, because Philly is going to just be so meandering and methodical and slow. The one thing I will say that adds on to what House said, the Chargers have allowed the second fewest 20-plus yard plays in the NFL this year. Top 5 explosive play rate allowed. And I know there's been a lot of discussion about Drake May and the MVP thing. They have faced the easiest schedule of opposing
Cupcake
defenses
City
in the NFL this year. Not just teams, defenses. So I think I would probably still vote for May for MVP, but I don't get a vote. And 2,
gotta work on that.
I think I'm on House's team here if I have to pick a side in that game.
That's a very tough game for me. I'm leaning a certain way, House. You'll have to find out on Saturday or Sunday's Ringer Sunday pregame, or Bodega Locks on Thursday with Raheem and Ariel, because we got to pick them all, and that's what we're going to do. I'm betting the Packers. Okay. I have not done it yet. I am betting the Packers. And the crazy thing about this is I proclaimed after watching that Raven game on Saturday night, I'm done with this team. I'm fading them. I'm done. And then I see that line come out, AD, and it's 1.5. And the Packers should have beaten the Bears twice as far as I'm concerned. I can see Caleb Williams and the Bears being a little jittery in their first playoff game. Am I crazy to like Green Bay?
I don't think so. I mean, my betting group chat was surprised when Green Bay opened a favorite, but I said, I mean, they closed a pick 'em in Chicago 3 weeks ago. Has that much changed for these two teams?
Well, the injuries, though.
They've had a couple injuries since then, yes. Micah being one of them. But, or no, Micah was
out.
No, Micah was out.
Mike was already out.
Yeah. So they already didn't have
Malik Willis played quarterback. They knocked Jordan Love out of that game.
Yeah. And still closed to pick 'em in that game. Basically, I think might have been slight Bears favorite by kick. Outplayed them for the majority of the game and win if Dobbs, recovers an onside kick or bats it out of bounds. So, look, you guys know my opinions on the Packers and the Bears. I don't have to repeat them all year. I still trust the Packers more, that one might be the ultimate stay away for me. I might just pass.
I understand. So you surprised I would go back to the well potentially on Green Bay?
No, why? What's surprising about it? I mean, Green Bay, you just crossed off yesterday. We all understood exactly what they were wanting to accomplish, especially in view of the injuries they experienced in Week 18 last year. LaFleur learned that lesson, but the Packers own the Bears. Notwithstanding the outcome of a handful of weeks ago, I think you're in the right direction there, JJ.
Dream, I know you'll be betting Chicago. It's okay.
Honestly, probably not.
Oh, okay. I was expecting. You've been a big Bear truther throughout the year.
He's taking the money and he's running.
I think there's going to be a spot to fade the Bears at some point, and I just don't want. To me, I think the play is the over here. I think if Green Bay is going to be competitive in this game, it's going to be because of their explosives, and I think both defenses have the Packers defense is not the defense that we saw earlier in the year. And I think the Bears, if they're not forcing turnovers, which the Packers don't do, then, the Packers are going to score. So I would rather play the over. I think you're going to get a lot of points.
When we return Monday, Ringer Gambling Show with the East Coast Bias Boys, the lessons from Week 18, the lessons from this year, plus AD's here. 3 and out, coaches are fired, whole lot shaken. We're coming right back. The Ringer Gambling Show is brought to you by FanDuel. Football fans, we've waited all season for this. It's time to flip the switch to playoff mode on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, all FanDuel customers can get in on the action with the wild card reward for the NFL wildcard round. Just pick your card and you can win up to 100% profit boost. How cool is that? So, wildcard weekend, don't get cute. Houston Texan defense, best defense left in the tournament. Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers had their moment. They're not having another moment. Texans, love them every which way. That's my favorite play for the wildcard round. Head to FanDuel.com/gamblers for a chance to double your winnings for the NFL wildcard round. Play your game with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL playoffs. 21 plus and present in select states, or 18 plus and present in DC, Kentucky, or Wyoming. Opt-in required. Rewards are non-withdrawable. Restrictions apply, including bonus and token expiration, leg requirements, and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER, or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777, or visit ccpg.org/chat. in Connecticut. Monday Ringer Gambling Show, East Coast Bias Boys, John Jastremski, Anthony Dabbundo in our New York studios, Joe House in D.C., Raheem Palmer in Las Vegas. Before we hit 3 and out, before we recap the lessons of this 2025 season, want to throw you guys the up-to-the-minute Super Bowl odds. Seattle and L.A. basically co-favorites to go and win it. Seattle under 4-1, Rams at 440. Then you have the under 10-1 crew. Denver plus 650, Eagles plus 850. Then the 10-1s and above. New England, Buffalo, and Houston are all at 10-1. Jacksonville is at 14-1. Packers are at 19-1. Bears 20-1. Niners 27-1. And then we get nutty. Chargers 30-1. Steelers 60-1. Carolina 225-1. Joe House, if you like the Chargers against New England, are you going to get on board with their Super Bowl odds?
No, I am not. I think that they're not a team that's built for a string of road victories. At some point, they run into a defense here. There are defenses yet in this AFC. Denver is one, Houston is another, depending on how everything shakes out bracket wise, where we've seen their vulnerability to pressure. So that's not that the Chargers are not worth a ticket to me. I don't really like any of the prices at the top. If I had to make a Super Bowl bet, I think it would be the Texans.
Still at 10-1. Okay.
Yeah, but I don't really love that price, to be honest with you.
No, I don't either.
No.
Missed the best of the number.
Yeah.
Offense is not consistent enough. I mean, and like we said, we don't love the defense either. If I had to pick a single team from that list, it would probably be the Chargers, but I'm not even dying to go run and bet it.
So you're not? Okay, so it's a pass for you. Fair enough. Raheem, anything you like there?
All of these are so ugly to me.
No, you guys don't like them. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's
I don't like
that's
any
the
of them.
lesson of this. You missed the best of the number. You don't have to get involved, and maybe things will change in a week, and you just want to go and bet the games. All right, Mr. Dabbundo. 3 and out. You've been with us the whole show.
I know.
I know we're putting you in a weird spot, so you can hit him quick hitter style. What do you got?
Yeah, I want to read off the top 5 most efficient quarterbacks in the NFL this year, and I think it's an interesting list. Drake May,
1.
Brock Purdy, Jordan Love, Joe Burrow, Sam Darnold.
I'm not stunned by the list.
Would that list, if I read that to you in week 1?
Oh, with different reaction than what you're getting right now.
Right, and I think the story of the season is it's quarterback systems and quarterback stability, as opposed to the high end quarterback talent that we see across this league. We agree, Justin Herbert, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, all would fit in that category. Lamar Jackson, none of those guys fit in the top 5 here on efficiency. So I think the story of the season.
Who is 6th, by the way?
The market, Josh Allen.
Okay, because Burrow barely played. That's why I was.
When you say efficiency, is that like DVOA? Is that EPA per play?
EPA
per play.
EPA. Okay, expected points added. So, okay, I'm guessing it's probably a little bit different with success rate or just explosive play rate.
Let me pull it up real quick here.
The one that
everything in front of him. I'm
going to let him. The one that would have stumped me, would have been Darnold, and I would have, because my anticipation for the season was that Seattle, who had a bottom 3 offensive line the previous season with Geno Smith, would not be able to protect Darnold, and that Darnold arriving with that offensive line, and Seattle really couldn't establish the run last year. So I was skeptical of Seattle coming into the season because it required a significant leap in their performance on the offensive line. Well, they got it. They certainly got. Then Darnold was a big help because Darnold was able to replicate that deep ball that he enjoyed against when he had Minnesota last year. He's once again top 3, top 4, top 5 in all of the deep ball stats. I think AD.
Success rate top 5: Brock Purdy, Drake May, Daniel Jones, RIP, Matthew Stafford, Josh Allen, Mac Jones, Dak Prescott. So that was the 7.
There you go. Okay. So
but Josh Allen shows up on the list, right? Stafford, maybe not as surprising, but I just think that was the story, really. And it's that, the ability to create an offensive system, right? We all agree. Daniel Jones, Brock Purdy, Sam Darnold, perfectly respectable quarterbacks, but certainly propped up by those systems, and Jordan Love especially as well. So I think all of those guys, fitting into the thing that, yes, we fall in love with these top tier quarterbacks. And when it is just kind of a 1 game sample, or when you need to win one, you're like, okay, I'll take my chances with the alien quarterback, with the Mahomes. We have to trust Mahomes. No way the Chiefs could get to 1-4. No way they could fall to 6-8. No way Josh Allen can lose again. Look, they're just one man, and as good as that one man may be, the offensive schemes were the winners of the season.
And Kubiak, Darnold, the 1 seed in the NFC. We'll see if they can win a couple more and get themselves to a Super Bowl. Take 2.
Take 2 is the return of the elite defense. And I think this is also part of it. And I think we've talked about this overall. There are 5 defenses this year who fit in the top 30 best defenses, top 20 best defenses of the last 10 years.
Wow.
By efficiency. And that I had to take out the COVID year, because the COVID year
doesn't count. Agreed.
So that stat kind of puts in perspective how much defense did control a lot of NFL this year. And it didn't necessarily, replicate itself in gambling, because it wasn't like there was a ton of unders or that scoring dropped off incredibly. But I think what defenses have found out is that as teams are going for it more on 4th down, if you just force them to be incredibly methodical, eventually they're going to screw up. And that was really the story of Seattle this year, taking away explosives, Denver taking away explosives, Green Bay. I know they had some issues down the stretch, but Green Bay taking away explosives. And then Houston, who was not that, who was just so in your face aggressive that they were able to just bludgeon teams. Those defenses taking away big plays and forcing all of these long meandering drives slowed games down. I don't think it made it for the most enjoyable watch as a neutral, but also meant that they were more efficient.
And as far as these defenses going into the playoffs, House, you got to put Houston number 1.
I would put Seattle number 1.
You would put Seattle number 1. Yeah, I still would put Houston number 1.
1A, 1B. It's fine.
Who's the 3rd best defense in this tournament?
The Eagles.
Yeah. That checks out.
Dream is right.
I'm glad you did.
It's the right answer. Because I wondered when Dabbundo, he said 5. Were the Eagles in there or no?
Yes.
They are. Yes. Okay. Well, that makes sense.
Those 3, who are the other 2?
What's that?
And on that list, those elite defenses.
Eagles, Houston, Denver.
That's right.
Denver, Seattle.
Yeah. It's right. Yeah.
And we'll see if defense ends up being the story of this postseason.
Cleveland made the cut, obviously, but their offense was historically bad, so it didn't quite translate.
Where's the Chargers defense? Because I think the Chargers defense is underrated and the Broncos defense is overrated.
Yeah, the Chargers defense had a handful of games where they were just completely inept, and I think that skewed their numbers. Like, you go back to the Colts game, they've had other games this year where you're looking around like, oh boy, rough. But what they know what they are. They're very high floor.
Yeah.
They with Khalil Mack and Derwin James, when both those guys are healthy, I think that's where the splits come in.
Mm-hmm. And James makes play after play after play for that
Just
team.
Incredible.
That's such an excellent point, House. You notice the difference of the Chargers, even in these games when he gets nicked up and he's on the sidelines for a couple of plays, what the Chargers look like when he's in there and what the Chargers look like when he is not. Okay, AD, 2 down, 1 to go.
So I already used my 3rd one, which was going to be that I was betting Pittsburgh in the.
That's okay.
That's my first bet. So
you're allowed an audible.
Are we making Super Bowl picks now? Are we saving them? What are we doing here? Are you guys ready to make a Super Bowl pick?
Well, I was going to say, what was my Super Bowl pick preseason? Oh, it was Kansas City, Tampa. Neither team made the playoffs. Nice job.
You were happy about Tampa. You took a lot of victory laps on Tampa. Like,
you know what? Listen, you got to be careful with that.
I had Green Bay and Baltimore, and I don't think Green Bay is going to make it anymore.
No, I don't. So we get mulligans. So who's your Super Bowl pick?
I think my this is how I couch this. My Super Bowl pick is the winner of Rams Seahawks when they play in the divisional round.
You got to make a pick now.
I got to make a pick now.
Yeah. You brought this assignment on yourself.
All right. The Los Angeles Rams are my Super Bowl pick.
Over who?
Over. I don't know why I put myself on the spot for this.
I was going to say, you can't even blame me.
I know. Over the Los Angeles Chargers.
Woo! L.A. in Santa Clara.
Imagine.
Pretty good.
I'm with you on the Rams. Rams over the Texans. House. Frisky.
I like that. Yeah, because I was thinking about Seattle over the Texans. I really feel like maybe this will be hilarious. I'm sorry to say this out loud. The clip will be funny. What if Darnold's turned the corner? What if it's a trustworthy
he's got
Darnold?
2 home playoff games.
I know. It's what I
He's
mean.
never going to be. Let's put it this way, guys. Last week, we had a clip on this show that went completely off the rails where I said the loser of the Seattle-San Francisco game has no chance of getting the Super Bowl. I stand by that because guess what?
Good
San
call.
Francisco may win in Philadelphia. They are not winning 3 straight playoff games with that defense. Sorry, no way, not happening, not on the road. House, it couldn't be set up better for Sam Darnold. Like if there's a year he's going to get to the Super Bowl, this is the year.
I think I have to agree with that.
They found a little bit of a run game too. I know that, one game against the San Francisco Niners, not a huge, feather in their cap, but they did find a run game. It was something.
Dream.
I gotta think. This is the year where I'm kind of like thinking outside of the box.
Yep.
So
Clearly, got to do it.
I think it's gonna be like Jags Seahawks or like
Could you
Steelers
imagine
Seahawks.
Jags Seahawks in the Super
That'd
Bowl?
be great.
I mean, I would
love that.
love it. But
Like,
it would
honestly,
be
I'm
wild.
looking at like Jags Seahawks, Steelers Seahawks.
Steelers.
Yeah, or like
No way.
like Jags Eagles. Like I think it's just gonna be ugly. Like, and so
You
it's
know
like,
what's wild about this assignment? None of us picked Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. Just think about that for a minute. Josh Allen, best quarterback in the tournament, MVP. It's his time. No Mahomes. And all 4 of us are like, nah, not picking Buffalo.
They got a bad draw. Like the thing that they are worst at is outside rushes. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars can run
Terrible
the
matchup.
Yeah, they can
Terrible
run the ball
matchup.
outside. They got so many weapons. And, your boy's playing with so much confidence. Mr. Lawrence, the rehabilitation of Trevor Lawrence by Liam Cohen, it's just been unbelievable.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Coaching matters. And by the way, a lot of coaching vacancies. Want to throw this out there. The New York Giants should not waste any time. Kevin Stefanski just got fired. They can do whatever they need to do interview-wise. He should be the head coach of the team by next week. Don't get cute.
Oh, wow.
He knows offense. He's a smart head coach. He took a team with 5 different quarterbacks to the playoffs, Raheem. I don't want to get cute with a coordinator. Go hire Stefanski.
How many coach firings are you up to now?
A lot.
Gannon,
Carroll. Titans.
Giants.
Oh, the Titans
Raheem
fired their
Morris.
coach too.
Well, the
Atlanta's
Titans
5.
are open because the interim was Mike McCoy.
I forgot. That's felt like 10 years ago.
It's just 5?
6, I believe.
Okay, 6.
I can't count. I went to Syracuse, so it happens. It happens. Boys, best bets. I know we have a lot of time to digest what our best bet for wildcard weekend is going to be, but it's a Monday, so it could be NBA. It could be the semifinal games. It could be wildcard weekend. House, what's it going to be?
Shout out to Raheem's boy, Mike Fiddle, has a nice angle on an NBA game tonight. The Detroit Pistons play the New York Knicks.
Yes.
Oscar Thompson over rebounds and assists, over 9.5. Josh Hart is out, which opens up some rebounding opportunities. And also can definitely get out in transition and get some assists off. So I saw that one and liked it very much.
Real quick, Raheem.
Atlanta Hawks +3.
Dabbundo.
Former Syracuse commit Justin Lamson and the Montana State Bobcats go for the title tonight. Montana State -10. Go Cats.
Montana State.
FCS championship. Yeah.
Montana State. How do I top that?
You don't. Make a pick.
I can't top that. Houston Texans, still take it if you can. They are going to absolutely steamroll the Pittsburgh Steelers. Sorry, Anthony Dabbundo.
We'll see.
For Anthony Dabbundo, Joe House, Raheem Palmer, and John Jastremski, that's going to do it for this loaded, wacky, wild East Coast bias on Ringer Gambling. A lot of great content coming your way throughout the week. We out. Be good, everybody.
Must be 21 or older and present in select states, or 18 or older and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. You must be 21 or older and present in select states. For Kansas, in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 or older and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit FanDuel.com/RG, 1-888-789-7777. 877 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 877-8-HOPE-NEW YORK or text HOPE New York in New York